So here we have 2D design. Yours will look slightly different, mine's an older version, but it still will work absolutely fine. So you should have this up on your screen. First thing you want to do is click over here on grid lock. That will make your objects stick to the grid on these little dots, which are spaced 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter apart. We're going to make a 30 by 170 ruler. If you want to see the sizes of your objects, look down here to the rel. Keep your eye on that as I make the ruler. So I'm going to use the zoom tool here, magnifying glass, to zoom in. You can use these scroll bars at the side to adjust your screen. Your mouse scroll won't work on 2D design. It's quite a clunky software, so it's not really up to date with all of those sorts of things. So keep an eye on the rel down here. Remember, each dot spaced is a centimetre away from the other, and we are going to make a 15 centimetre ruler with a 1 centimetre gap either side. So what you need to do is 1, 2, 3, down, and I'm holding my mouse down there. As I drag it across, it will create a rectangle. And in order to do that, I'm using over here the shapes tool. I've just clicked the rectangle. So it's 3 tall. I want it 17 across. So if you look at the rel, I've got the 30, and at the minute it's 50 because it's only 5 across. So I need to drag it all the way till it gets to 170. 170 millimeters, 17 centimeters. If I click my mouse again, I've got my solid object. Fantastic. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to zoom in even closer, because now you're going to start to add the detail. It's really important you get this accurate, so keep it on grid lock. These are going to be your first measurements, so you can mark your centimeters. So you need to go to the line tool here. If I hold my mouse over it, it says lines. I'll click it, and I want to line up my cursor with that first dot within my rectangle, pull it up and line it up with the edge of my ruler. Do it with my second dot as well, line it up and click. So there I have my centimetre markings. Now I want to add my millimetres. Grid lock sticks to the centimetres. If I want to be able to get into those tiny little gaps, I need to change from grid lock over here to the right of the screen to step lock. So I'll click step lock, and this will pick up on every individual millimetre within the centimetre. So I'll zoom in again because I'm going in for further detail. Drag my cursor across. I'll drag my scroll bar across. And there I have my 2 centimetres. I'm going to find the middle, which is here, in between the two. And you can count the steps. Do that in a second, just to make sure. I'm going to bring that 0.5, my half centimetre, line slightly shorter than my centimetre lines. And then my individual millimetres, I'm going to find those spaces in between the centimetre and the 0.5 millimetre. They're going to be even shorter. Now, if I want them to be consistent, I can use the select tool, click that object. It'll highlight there with the yellow boxes. You can use the keyboard shortcut Control and C. That will copy, and then if you press Control and V, it will paste. So just a reminder there, Control C and Control V. If you want to move a shape, go to your object, and in the middle there will be a yellow box. And if you hover over it with that 4-pointing arrow and click, you can then drag it. If you're still on step lock, which you should be, it'll automatically snap to the millimetre grid. So I can paste again, Control V, and it means my lines will always be the same size. So I'm going to keep pasting till I have all those gaps filled in, making sure you're not leaving any gaps. Keep pasting. And there I have the markings for my 0 to 1 centimetre section of my ruler. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lines now on your ruler. What you need to do is make sure you have those lines there. Make sure you count them in your document, because many students sometimes manage to do this. And as you copy and paste this shape, you're going to be 1 millimetre short. So make sure you have 11 lines. Once you're up to that stage, you can use what you've drawn here to make the next part of your process much quicker. So I've zoomed out. I can use my select tool to highlight what I already have. I can use Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and there I have a complete replica of what I've already made. Now I'm not going to put it right next to, because that means I'm going to have an extra millimetre here. So I need to drag it across, and I've kept that long line because it means if I click away, I know I've got that bang on alignment. So it does mean, in reality, if I delete that line, I'll still have a line underneath, and you don't need to delete it because the laser cutter will still just recognise it as a single black line because they're thin, but it helps you with your registration, making sure everything's lining up as it should. So I'm just going to keep pasting. Now, if I don't want to copy and paste again and again with small increments, I could use the select tool to highlight all of those lines and use Control C and Control V to copy and paste, and then line them up again. So I've got 2 sets there, 3, as we're making a 15 centimetre ruler, I'll only have to do that until I've done it 5 times. If you lose your cursor like that, I've clicked off and that's just floating there, there are 2 things you can do. You can press Control Z to delete that because it's an edit undo. You can only do that once in 2D design, or if I've clicked off it and it's floating, you can use the select tool, just highlight them all. It'll group the objects and you can move them again. One last one, Control V to paste, move them into place. So what I have, I've got all my markers for 0 to 15 centimetres, this one will be 15, and either side I have a centimetre gap here and a centimetre gap at this end. So that's the stage you want to get at before you start adding text.